Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Broadcast a game a couple weeks ago. My niece, Sydney, is playing college hockey at Mercyhurst in Pennsylvania. She still cheers for the Dallas Stars because her grandpa worked for them for 26 years. And I was like, Sid, you know that there's not one single person left of that team from when grandpa was there. I don't care. Just cheer for the Stars. Cheer for whoever the hell you want. You know, because the fans forget that it's not the same people. And by the way, it doesn't really matter. Where the hell is it? Jason here. Okay, hang on. Ryan in Toronto writes, and he says, hey, Rod, I picked up some Sober Carpenter, and it's amazing. I even tried the cider. I might have one with Monday Night Football, too. That's the thing. A non-alcoholic beer that's actually as good or better than real beer. It actually is. Who would have thought they could have done that? Because when I quit drinking, now almost 9 years ago, it's not easy. It's very difficult to quit drinking when you're an alcoholic, just so you know. And the thing was that non-alcoholic beer, I won't name it, but it tasted like horse piss. It was terrible. And yet I would be taking it on the beach in Mexico, dumping out the non-alcoholic beer, putting in the real beer, hoping nobody saw. It was exhausting. And finally, I just, I'm done. Quit altogether. Now I drink this stuff. I'm just like these folks. It's as good as real beer, and you don't do stupid stuff. How genius is that? You don't wake up the next day wondering what the hell you did.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Story in the NFL was in 2023. The number one story, what would you say?
Taylor Swift.
No. What's wrong with you?
Well,
Tom Brady retiring. Tom Brady. In 100 years, we're going to be talking about Tom Brady winning 7 Super Bowls, not some pop star wiggling in a luxury suite. What's wrong with you?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
You guys got to warn me when you come out with these intros like that, man. That was just yesterday's show. Hi, everybody. How are you? How are you? Welcome to the RP Show, episode number 1145. Oh, yeah. I'm in the Florida studio, as you see. Let's bring in Moosey's in Toronto. I'm not letting you live that down, by the way. I'm not. That you would forget that Tom Brady retired in this calendar year, and you think
you
Taylor
would
Swift.
forget
You still
Taylor
think
Swift? You didn't even have her on your top 5.
No, exactly. Thank you for paying attention.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful preview, everybody, for our best of episodes, our countdown of 2023. Dick Clark, America's oldest teenager. I'm taking over for him. The countdown shows next week. We're doing the top 5 stories of the NFL, the CFL, the NHL, and then the random leagues that we mentioned but don't cover totally here on the show. Hello. We're coming in hot. And I'll tell you that our guests today are Jeff Reinebold, Europe's coach, and Matthew Barnaby, the 18th all-time NHL leader in penalty minutes. And I'll say, can you hit the quick 6 show horn, Turner, Tuna Turner? Say that 10 times fast. Tuna Turner, Tuna Turner, Tuna Turner. You're simply the best, Tuna. We got a special delivery in the mail. Special delivery. I'm very excited about this. I got to thank my guy, Bill Edwards. He's a big fan of the show. He's in the Queen City, and he sent me this bobblehead. He knows I'm like a really big fan of bobbleheads, clearly. And Ron and Don, these are literally collector's items now. And I put a photo of this, if you saw on our Instagram and our Facebook. It sparked a predictable fight about the way it ended for Don Cherry and Ron McLean. But I just want to thank you, Bill. We're going to put this right here till the end of time. I love my bobbleheads. Almost broke it already. and it'll be on our Cats and Bolts set. And I said to Serena today, I said, okay, on this week's Cats and Bolts, you're going to explain your thoughts on Don Cherry being fired. And she's like, oh, boy. She goes, oh, didn't I already do that on the RP show? I said, yeah, this is a different audience, different people, and we're going to start a fight on that. So thank you, Bill. I think it looks wonderful. I really appreciate it.
Like,
how so?
We used to have that bobblehead back in the studio. I'm pretty sure the Ron and Don one. But somebody, I don't know if we had the security footage going, broke Ron McLean in half. So it's in the graveyard somewhere. Yeah. So how timely and great that we have a good one now. You got a good one.
It's a universe thing. Thank you, Bill Edwards, and this thing's going to be traveling a lot. So there's that. And then, okay, so point one, we got to speed this up. Here's what we're going to do. Get to as many of the Quick Six show topics here in segment one as we can. And then Jeff Reinebold's coming in to talk NFL, CFL, college, bowls in segment two. And then next hour, you and I will settle a little more into our topics here. But point one is just simply where I spent last night. Cardinal Gibbons football windup. That is one of America's top high school football programs is right here in Fort Lauderdale. They brought me in. Coach Matt Dubach is a former CFL receiver and a good, very close friend of mine. You're going to see him on this show on Thursday when we do our Boca Bowl preview that we now do annually. And I spoke about leadership, goal setting, substance abuse prevention with those kids. And you saw, I was going to send a photo to Clark to put up, but trust me by saying this. I'm 6'3". I'm a big guy. Did you see the photo of me with the three guys I had to reach up to put my arms around? And these guys were all D1 recruits. Half the team's going to Division I. What were you going to say?
That's one thing I never told you this morning. That was the first thing I noticed. I'm like, wait a second. These high school kids are making Rod look small. And that's usually the opposite of what happens in every room you walk into.
I'm actually going to take the photo and have Clark. I'm putting it in the WhatsApp group, Clark, if it'll happen here. Hey, my phone. And, so one of them's going to East Carolina. He was the starting right tackle the last three. The quarterback's going to North Carolina. I believe it's a D lineman. John's going to Florida International University. And it's funny because the parents came up and asked for my business card, and the kids came up after and said, what's your Instagram? We were joking about that, the difference in generations now. The kids were all following me on Instagram. They didn't want a business card. What's a business card for? But there is still a place for those. That was last night. Let me know, Clark, when you got it. It's in the WhatsApp, and we'll throw it up. But we're moving on to the NHL because there will be a lot of football next segment. And we do have a fun poll question today that's football related. But from the NHL last night, Justin Barron scored a power play goal, 109 into overtime to lift Montreal over Winnipeg. Josh Anderson and Christian Dvorak also scored for Les Habitants. Jake Allen made 30 saves for his first win in 8 games. For the Jets, Cole Perfetti and Gabriel Velarde scored for Winnipeg, and Connor Hellebuyck had 23 saves. Before we move on to the Flames and the Panthers, you watched more of that game, or at least you said the overtime. Do you have a take on Montreal going into Winnipeg and, frankly, upsetting the Jets?
Yeah, they did, and they play good team defense. They kept the Jets at bay. Tough penalty in overtime on, I believe it was Ehlers that took the penalty. Thought he was interfered with a little bit there, but you know what? The Habs, they find a way. They're kind of gritty. They kind of, resemble their coach a little bit of spunk, and they find a way to, pick up the points. And again, another game for Winnipeg where it looked like they were going to allow 2 or less goals and extend that streak. I think they got a streak of 3 or less goals. That's like 20 games now, but they just couldn't find it in overtime. It was an entertaining game, fun to watch.
By the way, I saw Bob Knuckles Irving, the Hall of Fame voice of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, putting on Twitter that the Habs are last place or whatever they are. They're bad. I think they're ahead of Ottawa. But he's like, comes in and beats the Jets, something along the lines of anybody can win any given game. And it's like, yeah, they can. Oh, the Jets put their best foot forward. They had Hellebuyck in goal. It's not like they played their backup like the Panthers did last night in Calgary. It happens. You can't let your guard down in the NHL. I think we all know that. It happens. Hell of a game. Tuna he's an octopus there. He's got 8 arms going because Clark isn't in yet. Tuna says he's got the photo of me and those boys, those big, beefy boys. Look at that. These are high school guys, folks. Like the guy to my left, your right, in the Chiefs T-shirt, he's the right tackle going to the East Carolina Pirates. And he's about probably 6'5", a good 330. And then the guy in the olive-covered hoodie, bunny hug, he's a quarterback going to North Carolina. He's a stud dog. And then the guy on the far left of the photo he's going to Florida International University. I believe it's John Rodriguez, J-Rod, they call him. He's one of the ones that asked for my Instagram, and he's got to be 6'6". Like, yeah, man, when I go to these Cardinal Gibbons high school football games, these guys, it's a college game. It's a college game. I think they would give some teams in Canada a real run for the money. Junior teams for sure, maybe even universities. So, yeah, there's the photo, and thank you for that, Tuna. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He says, you can't damper the Flames win, Rod. Well, I can, but I'm not going to try. Michael Backlund scored a tie-breaking shorthanded goal early in the third period, and Jacob Markstrom stopped 34 shots as Calgary beat Florida 3-1 in the Saddle Dome. Martin Pospisil and Blake Coleman also scored to help Calgary improve to 2-0-2 in their last 4. Sam Reinhart had a power play goal for Florida, and Anthony Stolars had 21 saves. So the Panthers are coming home. They finished a 5-game road trip 2-3. That's not bad. They got the Blues in here on Thursday night. Interestingly enough, St. Louis is at Tampa tonight. You said you watched a lot of that game, as did I. It was a fantastic game. And our voting was like neck and neck, the games of the night. It was the Jets-Habs game or the Flames-Panthers game. I don't know what your take on it was. Here's my takeaway out of it all. There's a million opinions. A million people have an opinion on it. Michael Backlund scores his 17th career shorthanded goal, moves him into second place all time in Flames history for shorties, because he was tied with Kent Nilsson with 16. Who's number 1 with 28 shorties? Can y'all say it? Theo Fleury, my good friend, we will be interviewing later today for our World Juniors preview. And I just think about, say, whatever, it's a hockey game. The Flames won. They've now got points in 4 straight. Now, can you hear that? They're planning the Stanley Cup parade down McLeod Trail. Like the up and the down, take it over there, man. In Winnipeg, and now Edmonton's lost a couple in a row going into, I can't. So my takeaway is Theo not being in the Hall of Fame, the snub, his jersey not being retired because of some immature, petty gripe that somebody with the team has. And I've told Theo so many times, records like this one, 28 shorties career, it's never going to be touched. It's not. Backlund's been there for 100 years, and he's barely over halfway the way to Theo's record. You know what I mean? So the recognition does not matter. His name's in the record book. That was my takeaway from the game, but I'm sure yours is far different. What's yours?
Well, the Backlund shorthanded goal, I remember watching that as he's coming in, and they cut to the shot of him, like face on, and you see the C on his jersey, and it just made me think, that's what captains are supposed to do, right? When they got the puck on their stick and a big moment, third period, they're supposed to put it away and score. And I like that Backlund finished that off shorthanded. When your captain's making plays like that, I think it, makes the rest of the team rally around. And they really did defensively. I thought they did a really good job in their own zone, especially late in that game when they're trying to tie the game. Florida was. They were blocking shots. Tanev was sacrificing the body. Markstrom was doing his thing because the Panthers really came close. So that was good. But on the Panthers side, they showed the graphic of how Matthew Tkachuk has struggled to score, just 5 goals on the season. But how about Sam Reinhart? I love the season that Sam Reinhart's having and the fact that he was able to pop in. And it was a really entertaining game from start to finish.
It was a fantastic game. And, for those, we host a Panthers and Lightning podcast down here in Florida. It's very popular. And my take on the Panthers is that Matthew Tkachuk will be fine. The team's largely winning. They're in a playoff spot. They're not losing. I know people are going nuts about Tkachuk, but who cares? He'll be fine. He's proven, everybody. He's proven. So he had 3 straight 100-point seasons. I think he'll be okay. What I'd be more worried about is Jonathan Huberdeau, who's now pointless in 9 games. That's a career-long drought, and they're paying him $10 million. Suck on that. Other NHL games last night: Anaheim over Detroit 4-3, Pittsburgh over Minnesota 4-3, Dallas over Seattle 4-3 in overtime. Moving on to football. How about this? I come back from giving a keynote address at a football team windup here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, turn on the TV to watch the Panthers and the Flames, and then I get up this morning and I have a text from my sponsor, Bob, saying, how about that Monday Night Football game? I'm like, what? I forgot they were playing. There's a million things going on. Thank God baseball's over. Drew Lock threw a 29-yard touchdown pass to Jackson Smith-Njigba with 28 seconds to go to cap a 92-yard drive, and the Seattle Seahawks stunned the Philadelphia Eagles 20-17, ending a 4-game NFL skid and getting back into NFC playoff contention. Seattle rallied behind its backup quarterback, who moved the team the length of the field for its longest touchdown drive this season. The Eagles lost their 3rd straight game. I'm going to move on. We'll come back to this later, maybe get into it with Coach Reinebold next. But do you understand now, folks, why at the halfway mark when people were anointing the Eagles, all that? Doesn't matter if you were the best team in the NFL at week 8. Now they've lost 3 in a row and panicking. But I want to get to this. The biggest news is in our vortex was Canadian quarterback Nathan Rourke is joining the New England Patriots as a waiver pickup. According to an NFL Network report, New England plucked Rourke off the Jacksonville Jaguars practice roster, and the first-year NFL quarterback is expected to be part of the Patriots' active roster for the rest of the year. Rourke, who was born in Victoria and raised in Oakville, was the CFL's most outstanding Canadian last season with the BC Lions. So just for fun, knowing CFL fans better than I know anybody on God's green earth, our poll question is, should Nathan Rourke come back to the CFL and stop getting jerked around in the NFL? Poll questions for Key Auto Group. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. Not shockingly, 68% on YouTube saying, yes, he should. I think it's 56% on Twitter saying no. But I'll turn it over to you in the 2 minutes we have here for you in this segment, and then we'll bring you back next hour. Do you want to take a stab at that? Should Nathan Rourke come back? He should play. Damn it. Moose? Oh, I know Tuna's still running the ship by himself there. Oh, give me a break. Of course not. But explain.
No.
Go ahead.
He shouldn't come back. But I would also temper the expectations on him in New England, because on the one hand, everybody's talking about he's going to have a better chance to play because they've gone through every quarterback and haven't been able to find any offensive consistency. Bailey Zappi hasn't been able since he took over. So it's been a tough system and a tough year. I would say I wouldn't expect him to go out and play like he did in the preseason in Jacksonville. It's a different system. It's different players. It's a different team, different coaching staff. But at the same time, I think there's a better opportunity for him to actually get on the field and maybe see some time. I've seen the reports now, because he was picked up off the waiver wire in season, he has to stay on the active roster for 3 games on the 53, which takes him through the end of the regular season. And when you've only won a few games and you're struggling and you're out of the playoffs, this is when you see what you've got. So I would be shocked if Nathan Rourke didn't see some action here down the stretch, because you want to see what you have heading into the offseason. So it will be fun to watch, but I would temper my expectations.
Yeah, I think we're playing right into the wheelhouse of our next guest, Jeff Reinebold, on this and many other football-related topics. Matthew Barnaby coming up in hour 2. It'll be a real big hockey hour in hour 2. Moose, we'll see you then.
You bet.
Iconic football coach and Sky Sports NFL analyst Jeff Reinebold joins us next. We are live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Happy holidays, hockey fans. Welcome to the SJHL Report. I'm Darren DuPont. Final one of 2023. Let's look at the games from the final weekend. It was a big weekend for Weyburn. Friday night, an upset win over Humboldt. They followed it up with a win over Yorkton on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Battlefords won both weekend games against their rivals, the Kindersley Clippers. So, Weyburn moving really close, now just 2 points back of Kindersley as we look at the standings heading in to the holiday break. As we sit here over the holidays, Flin Flon still way out in front, first place overall. We'll look at our leading scorers too, and Kean Bell, the Battlefords, in just 19 games, now tied with Justin Lees for top spot. But look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the top 7 skaters in the points, all from the Flin Flon Bombers. It's going to do it for this week's SJHL Report. Happy holidays. I'm Darren DuPont.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, everybody, we are back at it here in hour one of your favorite daytime sports talk show. It is something. It really is something. And I feel bad for our producer today, Tuna Turner. That's his name, Tuna Turner. He's having himself a day. Jeff Reinebold is not logged in. We expect that he will be at some point. Now, DuPont is going to try and join us, Tuna, but I know you got enough going on your own. So, and as I look at this, my laptop's about to die because I forgot to plug that in. So, hang with us, Tuna. I'm gonna do my best to lower your stress level because, as a producer once said to me at a television station I used to work at, he goes, "You can just turn on the camera and let Rod go and just walk away." Unfortunately, one day he did, and that's why I'm sitting here now. But everything happens for a reason. And it's all deadly. I'll tell you that the text line is open, 902-518-3033. It's brought to you by Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beers. Ask for them by name, Sober Carpenter, at your favorite beer, wine, and spirit store. I'm telling you, I can smell a hot button topic like a fart in a car. I'm telling you. And it's the voting on our poll question is evening out to 50-50. That's my point. Polarizing topics. Should Nathan Rourke come back to the CFL? I'm hoping you were watching this earlier. Just before the break, that was our poll question. He has been claimed off waivers by the New England Patriots, and he'll be on the Patriots roster for the rest of the season. I believe the Patriots are 3-11. They're officially eliminated from the playoffs. So Dale, and by the way, I appreciate our audience. I appreciate the viewers. So I guess there's no wrong answer. That's why we have votes. It's a democracy. But Dale writes in. It's not enough just to vote. Dale wants to write in and say, yes, sure, he can make money down south, but he needs to be playing and not on a practice roster or riding the bench. His talents are wasting away down south. And I might add, the way I worded the question was, should he come back to the CFL and stop being jerked around in the NFL? But it's a bit of a trick question. You get jerked around in the CFL, too. You just get jerked around in sports. Might as well be paid for it, right? Oh, we had Reinebold, then he walked away. Kirk in Toronto writes in and says, hey, Rod, more Jeff Reinebold and Jim Barker, please, and thank you. They are great. Live look-in the IKS studio, the Millennium Falcon producer, Tuna, has just broken into a sweat. We got you, Tuna, and we got you, Coach Reinebold. Before we get into more serious matters, hey, Coach, good to see you. You know that 50% of CFL fans are going to, or more, are going to say Rourke should come back to Canada. Are you one of them? After what's happened in his rookie NFL season, how do you feel about him being claimed by New England after being waived 3 times in Jacksonville?
Well, it's interesting to hear the fans say, he's getting jerked around. I mean, you don't want to get jerked around. Don't get into pro football, because that's what life is in pro football. We're watching a kid right now in that Browning kid at Cincinnati who's tearing the league up. He's done things that nobody's ever done in 4 games in his career already. And here was a guy that was cut 3 times by the same team, in Minnesota, and then went back last week and beat Minnesota. And if you don't have the mental toughness to go through that process, then you're probably going to have a tough time in this business. And there's a lot of guys that have been that way. Their life in this business has been cut, not, re-sign, cut, practice roster, cut, back, and then all of a sudden they get their chance. And, I just really think that I think that kid's got a future. I think he's shown enough in both his CFL film and what he did in preseason that when he gets in a situation where he gets a genuine opportunity and not, again, he was never going to beat out Trevor Lawrence. Anybody that thought that was going to happen was, delusional. But what you had hoped was there was going to be enough tape in preseason, and which is tougher now, Rod, because there's one less preseason game. So guys like Rourke, it's harder for them to get that first break. And, remember there was a quarterback that played for 26 years that was drafted in the 6th round and didn't get his opportunity until the guy in front of him got knocked out of a game, So when your opportunity comes, you better be ready.
Oh, man, I was just telling a young kid here in Florida the Tom Brady story the other day. Kid's not playing, and I said, hey, look up the story of Tom Brady, man. He was frustrated. He was down. He wasn't going to keep going, but he did. And when he got his chance, he shone. I said, that's what you need to do. So good point. But it's funny because I had a football guy in Mississippi. He's beside himself, Jeff, that Rourke wasn't claimed before this. He goes, why can't this kid get a chance? I said, you should know why some guys get picked and some don't. That's like God picking your number. Don't you think?
Well, and there's a lot of factors that go into it. I mean, most of them are not in Rourke's control. So again, it sounds like coach speak, but it's just the facts. You just got to control what you can control and let the rest of it sort itself out. There's only one thing, Rod, that will guarantee he never plays in the National Football League, and that's if he quits. That's the one thing that will guarantee he never will play in the league. So, he's got to, he's got to do what he has to do, right? Not for me, not for you, not for any fan, but, if he wants to truly make his name in the National Football League, then he's got to go down there and he's got to go through this grind to get that opportunity.
I don't know if that's coach speak. I think it's life speak, but we were saying before the break, the Eagles have lost 3 in a row. How much panic should there be at the link right now?
Well, I think there's got to be a lot of concern because, what you've seen now is 3 weeks of not playing very well. And especially, not playing the way everybody anticipated this team would play. They were within, minutes of a Super Bowl championship last year, and they're young, and they went out and drafted well and, signed a bunch of guys in free agency that are good players. And, here we are at the 16th week of the season and making a coordinator change on the sly inside the building. The quarterback has not played very well for 3 weeks in a row. It's illness. And some of it's, frankly, that I think defenses have started to figure out that if you make him make enough throws, if you make him be a quarterback, it's tough on him. And their offense is kind of gotten bogged down because I think for a lot of the same reasons. Their offense is based on a couple simple principles, and defensive coordinators get paid too. I mean, they sit in their office from 4:30 in the morning until 11 o'clock at night, trying to figure you out. And if, we saw it with Dallas, right? I mean, Dallas riding high, they beat the Eagles. They won 5 or 6 straight, and they go up and just get pasted in Buffalo because the Bills saw that if you can stay in front of them in the game and you run the ball, they're not built for that. And, Josh Allen, I think he threw for 94 yards and they blew the Cowboys out of the building.
Yeah, did you see what Josh Allen said? He goes, I feel like the guy that did nothing in the class project and still got an A. But you know what? That's the concept of that's the nature of football, man. That's team. What is Etch calls it complimentary football. I don't think he trademarked the phrase, but that's kind of what it is, right? Doing whatever it takes to win. But about those Cowboys, Dak threw for, I think, 123, his first pick in 5 games. And afterwards, he's like, I can't put my finger on why we can't win on the road, nor could the coach. For us Cowboys fans, we're kind of not shocked. What's your guy Baldy saying? What are you saying about the Cowboys?
Well, you know what? I was so, and I've always been, because of 20 years of, the Cowboys being all hat and no cattle. And I thought that this was the year. I mean, all the indications were there, Rod, that this was really a legitimate football team, right? And the one thing that we hadn't seen was them play outdoors against a good football team. And were they going to be able to stop the run? And I thought that Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator from Buffalo, did an amazing job of attacking the Cowboys where they really are deficient, and that's at the linebacker level. They've got a bunch of great pass rushers, and they are, I think, 3rd in the NFL in pass rush rate. But when you line up like Buffalo did, and you just pound away at them and, pull guards up on those little linebackers. Their linebackers are as big as CFL linebackers, Rod. And, I know there's a trend in the league right now to go to smaller, faster players on defense because of all the throwing. But, again, things run in cycles. And, when you're playing with 205 and 225 pound linebackers, once those guards get up on you, you saw one example of, the Buffalo tackle got on one of those little linebackers, and he just ran him 20 yards into the end zone. So that's going to be a potential problem and something that Dan Quinn and the defensive staff there are going to have to figure out.
Hey, Coach, for fun, just to talk on the bowl season, I spoke at a high school program's wind-up last night, and it was awesome. I was talking with all the coaches and the players, but we were talking about these bowl games, man. Kudos to Ohio that goes in on the weekend and wins their bowl game without Curtis Rourke. That was awesome. But all these bowl games where the big-name players aren't playing because they've transferred, coaches have quit and gone to another school. Barker says, just enjoy the football. There's 43 bowl games, enjoy it. And that's true. But Jeff, what is your take on what's happened to college football? Can it be fixed? Because it kind of feels like it's ruined.
I think that's really two separate questions, Rod. You know, when you look at the bowl games, here's what the teams, obviously they're and for the most of the bowl games that are going on right now, which are lower tier bowls. I know when I was at Hawaii and this is in the early 2000s, we would make $750,000 for the athletic department to go to the Hawaii Bowl or any of those lower tier bowls, $1 million maybe to go to the Belk Bowl. And then you got $24 million when you went to the Sugar Bowl. So there's a difference in the bowl payouts. But what teams really like the bowl games for, to be very honest with you, is number one, it helps you so much in recruiting. Number two, think about it, Rod. They've cut back spring practice now. It's getting shorter and shorter all the time. So when you go to a bowl game, you get another 2 weeks of practice with your team. And that's just not your starters. That's everybody on your football team. So it's like having another spring practice. So coaches obviously want to be in a bowl game for a number of reasons. Financial, first, for the school. Second, that it helps you in recruiting. And thirdly, it gives you another opportunity to work with your players. So it helps build depth in your program and helps keep kids from going into the portal. Because if a kid's active and he's practicing and he's going to a bowl game, he's less likely to go into the portal, which most of the group of 5 coaches now worry about more than anything else, is losing kids, getting your good players poached by the Power 5 schools.
Yeah, so basically what you're telling me is it depends on your perspective. If you're just a fan, watch it and enjoy it. But like there's a kid from here in Boca, Michael Pratt, at Tulane. If you followed, he's become Tulane's all-time passing leader. So I said to the coaches last night, I'm excited to watch Pratt in this Cheez-It Bowl or whatever. And they're like, no, he's not playing. He's going somewhere else. I'm like, oh, my God. It's hard to keep up with this, man.
Yeah, it is. And, it's interesting. Chip Kelly had an interesting and Chip's kind of a deep thinker. And he had really an interesting idea about what's happened now. How in the world can the schools that were once the Pac-8 now be playing in the Big Ten against schools that were once in, that were Eastern independents, like Rutgers and Maryland, and now they're playing Cal and Oregon and along with Minnesota. And what happened to the traditional rivalries, the things that built college football? And, I think it's sad when we lose those things for the almighty dollar, but it's the business of the business. And what Chip proposed, and I thought was really interesting, was college football just goes its own way, and all the other sports can be a part of the NCAA. And that's probably a more equitable way to, police or enforce rules or whatever on sport, because it's crazy that now, because when you make that decision, like for example Oregon going to the Big Ten, well, not only does your football team need to fly and do all those things, but your basketball team, your girls softball team, the track team, the golf team, everybody. And that's pretty expensive. And so what do they got to do? They got to get the television revenue to offset all those costs. And, it just creates the madness that we see in college football today.
The root of all evil? Money, of course, but it ain't changing. So get with the program. Merry Christmas, Coach. Thank you. We got to run. Enjoy the ball. I appreciate the time today, man. All
right. Mele Kalikimaka to you, Rod.
Awesome. Thank you. Coach Jeff Reinebold from SkySports NFL coverage, the iconic coach. We'll be back with a sports update, audience takeover. Matthew Barnaby coming up in hour 2. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
VRP show continues. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays. Yes, we'll be live throughout the rest of the week. And then between Christmas and New Year's, it'll be our World Juniors special, which you're not going to want to miss. Theron Fleury is going to be part of that. What else we got? Craig Button, Sammy Casantino, the voice of the Moose Jaw Warriors, James Gallo. And then our best ofs. And to be honest, we're in year 5. Year 5. Of this show. We've been doing it for 5 years, and this is the most fun that I've ever had doing it. And I kind of got a kick out of the gal. I can't remember her name. Maybe you guys know in the Millennium Falcon there. Is it Marissa from Bar Down? She was celebrating the 5-year anniversary of Bar Down on social media. I follow her. She's from Saskatoon originally, which shocked the hell out of me. Just that I never even knew of her, and then I find out she's from Saskatoon. I'm like, 5 years on TSN? I'd like to think a TSN show would last 5 years. This one here, we've been cobbling together 5 years of fun sports talk. And anyways, that's next week. And I don't know what made me think of this and why. So the best ofs, the best interviews of the year, countdowns, it's all fantastic. To quote John Frenzy, it's just going to be fantastic. And then Thursday of this week, it's our annual Boca Bowl preview, the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. Here's my point. Thursday, we do our live show, our special occasion live shows from the Beach House in Pompano. Scenic rooftop ocean views on Pompano Beach Boulevard. And our guests will include Matt Dubuck, CFL alum, and head coach of the Cardinal Gibbons High School Chiefs. I spoke to his team last night at their year-end wind-up. It was great. And Andrew Nowacki. This is my point. I think I'll figure it out before Thursday, 10 seasons for Andrew Nowacki with the Edmonton Eskimos. Won at least one Grey Cup in that time, but he also played at Murray State. He's very close to the college scene. And what I love about these guys, football guys especially, you can bring in one guy and knock off a bunch of different leagues. Andrew was like, what do you want to talk about? I said, just a basic football chat. NFL, CFL, college. He's like, on it. So that's Thursday, the Boca Raton Bowl preview show right here. It's going to be deadly. A sports update, and I understand it's afternoon out here in the East, still morning out in the West. But I read this news from Monday, and it's so Monday's news. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers announced the club has agreed to terms on a one-year extension with Canadian Football League All-Star guard Pat Neufeld. He was scheduled to become a free agent in February. Patty returns in 2024 for his 11th season with the Bombers, 13th in the CFL. Named a CFL All-Star for a third time this past season. He started 17 regular season games along with the West Final and the 110th Grey Cup. I'm including that in the sports primarily because of personal feelings. I love Pat. I was with the Rough Riders when he came in. Played for the Riffle Royals, right, Patty? U of S Huskies. And he's got a big tattoo of a gigantic rose on his bicep. If any Bomber fans are watching or friends of Pat, I believe it's honoring a family member of his. Big, beautiful rose on his arm. Patty Neufeld back with the Bombers for 2024. Write in and tell me what that's for, because I can't remember. The Western Hockey League announced Tidge Iginla of the Kelowna Rockets has been named Tempo WHL Player of the Week. The 2024 NHL draft-eligible center contributed to all 3 game-winning goals as the Rockets went 3-1 on the week to close out a 7-game roadie. Iginla is currently tearing it up on a 6-game point streak that's seen him net 6 goals and 12 helpers. Meanwhile, Vancouver Giants, ho, ho, ho. Netminder Brett Merwald has been named WHL Goalie of the Week. The 20-year-old went 2-0 in 2 starts, both against the Seattle Thunderbirds, putting up a near-perfect .980 goals against average. That's right, 0.98 goals against average. My bad. And .965 save percentage. Sports Update is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. One thing we talked about in the banquet last night with both DeBuck and me was sports and the relationships and how great they are. And I think of this because I went to Theo's golf tournament, the Breaking Free Foundation. It's the foundation in Calgary and Southern Alberta that provides free trauma counseling support for trauma victims, and we were raising money for it, and I met the Common Crown guys there. Actually, I got put at their table. Now that I think of it, Theo's like, you're going to sit with these guys, and you'll love them. And that's exactly what happened, and they ended up sponsoring this show and our hockey coverage. How about that? Hey, Tuna. And we're also brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Silent Night. From legendary director John Woo and the producer of John Wick comes this gritty revenge tale of a tormented father who witnesses his young son die when caught in a gang's crossfire on Christmas Eve. Silent Night redefines the action genre with visceral, thrill-a-minute storytelling. When we come back, a viewer takeover for the whole segment, so load them up. Sober Carpenter text line 902-518-3033. Sober Carpenter, ask for it by name at your favorite beer, wine, and spirit store, or the YouTube feed as well, or Twitter. We'll get back into that Nathan Rourke stuff. It is such a Canadian thing that the U.S. viewers, that if they didn't understand Canada, a lot of the U.S. viewers that are watching do, so they get it. That's why they're watching. Why there would be so much furor over a backup third-string quarterback like Nathan Rourke. But there is. It's the way that it is. It's what we do in Canada. And it's a very hot-button poll topic today. By the way, a lot of hockey coming up in hour 2 as Matthew Barnaby will join us, the 18th all-time penalty minute leader in NHL history. We'll be back in a moment on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Well, we've got through the sports update, so you know what that means? It's just you and me, the audience, and yours truly. I was thinking when we were going through the best of shows, because they are pre-recorded. Spoiler alert, they're pre-recorded, which means we didn't have the live component with the viewers. I'm like, I don't know what I would do without the Rod Squad and the Dupe Troop, the live viewers. They just add so much to this show. And it's what, that's what we have right now. I mentioned it, the Sober Carpenter text line, 902-518-3033, Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beers. Ask for them by name at your favorite and local beer, wine, and spirit store. And then the YouTube feed. So we'll get to those answers, those questions and comments too. But Brian is watching in Hudson's Bay regarding the lightning rod poll question here. Should Nathan Rourke come back to the CFL? And yeah, I think that's why Reinebold and I get along, and that's why he's on this show, is we see things the same way. I worded the question on Twitter this way: should Nathan Rourke come back to the CFL and stop being jerked around? And the results are like 50-50. They're fluctuating, 52, 48, whatever, you get it, 51-49. But as Reinebold said, if you don't want to get jerked around, you shouldn't be in pro football. And I'll take that one step further and say, if you don't want to be jerked around, you shouldn't be in sports, period. So so then at the end of you're going to get jerked around no matter where, so you might as well be paid for it. And Brian in Hudson Bay, he writes in, he says, I think even a backup makes a pretty good living in the NFL. Who are the fans to tell a guy in that position what to do? He's probably having the time of his life. I hope he gets a chance at some point to see if he can do it or not. Reinebold had a lot of great quotes there, by the way. Might have to turn it into a meme. We probably will. About the Dallas Cowboys being all hat, no cattle. Or if Rourke quits now, the NFL will never know. So think about that. And a lot of people out there are quitters, right? And maybe that's the people that are voting for, yeah, he needs to come back to the CFL. Can't speak for you. I can only speak for myself, and that is no, he should not come back to the Canadian Football League. But you know what? Every road's different. I mean, you look at my life. I'm sitting down here now covering the Panthers, covering the Lightning, going to NHL games every night, cavorting with NHL people on a regular basis. I spent a lifetime in junior hockey, which was awesome, thinking that would get me to the NHL. That never happened. Maybe I should have been doing this 25 years ago. I don't know. Everybody's different. But these are also different times now than then. I'm not sure that they are in football. But it's fun to talk about because, and by the way, we'll get to tonight's NHL games as I look at them right in front of me. But I just think about this football guy in Mississippi that called me about Nathan Rourke and why he wasn't getting an opportunity with another NFL team in any of the 3 times that he was waived prior by the Jags. And I was like, you got to let it go, man. Who knows why? Why did Garth Brooks have his ticket pulled by God, but not the 100 other people that were playing on Broadway that night in Nashville? Who knows? Got to let it go. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says it's not as simple to just label people with that opinion as quitters. I didn't. You just took offense to it. John in Edmonton says, Rod, what do you think of the Taylor Swift effect with the Kansas City Chiefs? When she's there, they win. When she's not, they lose. I think it's a coincidence. That's what I think. Unless she's some part remarkably of the game plan, I don't know. Because there's a school of thought that there are no coincidences, and I'm kind of in that camp. But in this case, I think it is. Like, whether you wear socks or not to watch your favorite team play, and that debate, and then they always win or always lose, depending on what you do, I don't think that has any effect. I do want to talk next hour about tonight's games in the NHL. It's what a lot of people came here for. Like New York Rangers at the Leafs. I need Darren called Columbus beating the Blue Jackets last week. I was like, well, this shouldn't even be close. Blue Jackets. He knows he's a Leaf fan. I don't get the mentality. Oilers at the Islanders tonight. You know, they won 8 in a row, the Oilers, and still we're nowhere close to a playoff spot and still really aren't. Yeah, Ottawa with Jacques Martin on the bench tonight at Arizona. We got a lot to get to coming up after this brief pause on Game Plus and Key Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Story in the NFL was in 2023. The number one story, what would you say?
Taylor Swift.
No. What's wrong with you? Tom Brady retiring. Tom Brady. In 100 years, we're going to be talking about Tom Brady winning 7 Super Bowls, not some pop star wiggling in a luxury suite. What's wrong with you?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, welcome everybody to the RP Show, Hour 2. Shame on me. You're not supposed to ask somebody what's wrong with you. You're not supposed to. I hope Darren's forgot about it. I'm sure he has. Let's find out as he joins us here in Hour 2, Darren Moose DuPont.
It's not about me forgetting.
Hey,
it's about me forgiving. Right?
Okay. Gotcha. Is this mic booming in like crazy, or is it just me? Guys, let me know.
Okay.
Okay, they got it. So I want to open this hour talking about hockey. I really do. It is December after all, and it is winter. But it also getting to the thick of the NFL season. And since the guys played the clip of you talking about Taylor Swift being the number one NFL story, I sniff a poll question.
Yeah.
For Football Friday, what's the number one story in the NFL or sports for that matter? Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce or Tom Brady retiring? My God, people, don't let me down. You have to vote for Tom Brady retiring. But John in Edmonton, just before the break, asked what I thought about Taylor Swift and the fact that when she's there at the Chiefs games, they win. When she's not there, they lose. And he goes on to say, if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, Taylor Swift won't be there. She's on tour. They're not going to win. Oh, my God. Stop the world. I want to get off. Allie in Texarkana writes in. She says, happy Tuesday, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Christmas stuff at work. No apology needed, Allie. Jen from the Four Seasons writes in. She says, hopefully the Oil can bounce back tonight against the Islanders. Yes. I just want to mention Bill Edwards. Where the heck is it? Our viewer. Here he is. He says, morning all. Sorry I'm late. I love the people that apologize for being late. It's good. He's the guy that gave us the latest set design, the Ron and Don bobblehead. And we're not going to start a holy war today talking about Ron McLean and Don Cherry. And now I guess I kind of started it by putting a photo of this bobblehead on social media. And all I did was put a photo up. That's it, Darren. But I knew the people would start getting into it, and maybe these two will come back together. No. Can we please just acknowledge they were together on the air for 30 years? Smile because it happened. Don't cry because it's over. We gotta move on. But I just want to thank Bill Edwards because he's checked in here this morning and said, hey, good morning. Thank you, Bill. Your packages has arrived. I appreciate you so much. I love my bobbleheads. I love these guys. Thank you. Do you have anything on that before I switch gears? On anything we've opened the hour
Two
with?
quick things. One, that's a great lesson. Don't try and recreate the past all the time. Just be happy that it happened and understand that the pages of the book have turned and we move forward. Don't look back. But the second one, and I would be upset if I didn't get this in. I was thinking about it yesterday. You mentioned poll question, Brady or Kelsey, Taylor Swift. That's a great poll. But yesterday we were talking about Gaudreau and Tkachuk. Save this in your back pocket. Who has a better chance or who wins the cup first? Gaudreau or Tkachuk or the Flames? Because you said those guys might never win a cup. And they might not. And neither might the Flames.
I didn't say it. A viewer said it. And I called him out on it.
Yeah.
I never said that. Because, listen, this is where I learned to never say that. Because a former coach of Eddie Belfour's, who will remain nameless, I won't even say where he played, but it was prior to 1999, let's put it that way. A former coach of Eddie Belfour said to me, that guy will never win a Stanley Cup. No team with Ed Belfour playing will ever win a Stanley Cup. And I believed the guy because I had a lot of respect for him. And then when the Dallas Stars got him prior to the 1999 Stanley Cup run, I'm like, oh, great. My buddy says that they're never going to win a Stanley Cup. And then they do.
Yeah.
So from that point forward, I'm like, no. I won't believe that when anybody says. Never's a long time, as Gary Echeverry says. And we had the people last year, the Fajardo critics. We won't call them haters, just the critics. Oh, enjoy. He'll never win a Grey Cup. And then he does and shoved it right down their throat. So, no, I'm not saying anything that Tkachuk will never win a Stanley Cup or Gaudreau. It was just a scorned Flames fan, which before we get to that, hey, I just want to say, hey, from my guy Ryan Schultz, used to work with him, DJ to the Stars, now the voice of the OCN Storm. He writes it. He says, hello, guys. Wishing you all a happy holiday and all the best. Merry Christmas on my behalf from the OCN Storm and the Keystone Junior Hockey League. Jeff in Yorkton writes in. He says, can Connor Bedard win a Stanley Cup before Connor McDavid? That's just kind of silly talk because at this point, Bedard's nowhere close. And who knows if the Oilers ever will. But what's on my mind is this. NHL tonight, 3, 6, 9, 11 games in the NHL, including the Leafs home to the New York Rangers. And because they're not my team, the Leafs, I don't have their vibe. I don't get their vibration, their vibe. I just don't. I would have thought, looking at the odds and the rosters last week, that the Maple Leafs would have just rolled over Columbus. But you called them losing. So you have your finger way more on the pulse of that hockey team than me. I got my pulse on certain things. The Leafs just aren't one. You called it. So what's your read on the Rangers at the Leafs tonight? Because I have no clue.
Well, yeah, and Toronto, plays Pittsburgh and beats them 7-0 without Matthews and Riley on the weekend. But then you pull out to like 30,000 feet and take a look. And I was, looking into it. The Leafs are 10-1-4 since the early part of November. I think it's the 10th or something. And over that time, it's the best record in the National Hockey League. And that kind of feels a little surprising to me to hear that. I wouldn't have thought that would be the case. I wouldn't have put them there as the best team in the National Hockey League right now. But maybe they're playing like it. And this is another test. But you have to play at an elite level against everybody. That's what the good teams do. That's what the great contenders do. Yeah, you have an off night here and there, but you play well against everybody. So they played well against the Rangers the last time they met. I think it was last week or the week before, and now they'll meet them again tonight. So I'm curious to see what Leafs team comes to play tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty sad that you have to ask that, because when you have teams that you know what they're going to bring, those are usually the contenders, man. And that's why I just can't get down with this Leafs team. Can I ask you this? Have they yet, as we approach the Christmas break, faced adversity all year, the Leafs? I mean, I've watched the games singularly, but I haven't looked at their season as a whole. Have they faced adversity at any point?
I guess define adversity, but no, it feels like not really. Clark could be somebody asked too, because he's watched all these games. In games, sure, they've been down. I mean, they felt adversity against Columbus. They were down 5 goals going into the third period and showed an ability to come back and put, the pedal down when they needed to, get that into overtime and get a point. So that would be one instance. No, but other than that, I'm trying to think of, my mind's blanking.
Yeah, I follow it pretty closely, too. And no, it wasn't a trick question. I don't think they have faced adversity yet. And that could be a lot of things. That could be a long losing streak. That could be injuries. Gosh knows. The reason I bring that up is because sports is all the same. That's why I can talk, and you two, intelligently, I'd like to think, on a variety of different leagues, because the concept of sports is all the same. So you look at the Eagles. Talked about it last hour. Philadelphia Eagles, they've now lost 3 in a row, including a last-minute loss last night on Monday Night Football. The fans want you to go clicking on all cylinders all the way through the year. You don't want that. You don't. Because at some point, adversity will hit. And if it's in the playoffs, you're screwed. You look at the 2016 Calgary Stampeders. They didn't have adversity until the Grey Cup game. And they lost. You want those bumps in the road along the journey. That's where you learn. That's what brings teams together. But people don't understand that. And for the Leafs, it's not a compliment when I say they only play as hard as they have to. You knew that when I said it. They only play as hard as they have to. Because that tells you the talent's there. They have everything they need. Why they can't be consistent? Probably only God knows, and maybe the hockey gods. Because when they run up against a team, and you said it, like Vegas, like Colorado, teams that, well, I'm not going to put Colorado in that. Vegas for sure. They'll mulch them. So anyways, Darren's take, we'll see what Leafs team shows up tonight. Great take. Jen says, hopefully the Oilers can turn it around. And by the way, that's another thing. They faced their adversity in November. We talked about it yesterday on the show, and it'll be in our year-end. What was it? It's in my notes. November 18th, roughly. Maybe it was the 12th, November, that they fired. Hang on, let me get it straight. Knobloch. I'd like to think they went through their adversity, the Edmonton Oilers. Where is it? November 12th. They fired Jay Woodcroft. They're still not in a playoff spot. I think they need a stepladder to even look at it. They got 27 points. They're 5 points out of a playoff spot, the Edmonton Oilers, and that's with an 8-game winning streak. So are you a believer in that stat, that 80% of teams at U.S. Thanksgiving, if you're in a playoff spot, will go on to make the playoffs? That also means 80% of teams not in a playoff spot will miss, correct? Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
That's not good if you're an Oilers fan.
Well, it's not.
That's not
But
good.
the fact that, most of the teams I would look at that aren't in a playoff spot, if you go up and down the teams, you go up and down the rosters of these teams that aren't in the playoffs right now, I think you'd be hard-pressed to be confident that any one of them could go on 7-8 game winning streak. 9-game winning streak. Like if you went over to BetRegal to say if that was a bet you could place, I don't know that you'd be putting a bet on these non-playoff teams. But the Oilers, you might. And I think that's the one reason why Oiler fans can go into the holidays slightly optimistic, because they have the talent and they've been playing so far below their potential that they can go on an 8-game win. We've seen it. So they can turn things around. But the problem is they can also go and disappear for 8 games too. And they may be at the start of that again. So that's the part that's really frustrating for Oiler fans.
And it's not really new. I will defer to this before we move on. Dale Talon on our Cats and Bolts podcast, the former GM of the Panthers and the Blackhawks, saying, oh, the Oilers will be fine. I encourage anybody to go back and watch our podcast, the Cats and Bolts podcast that Serena and I host, because Dale Talon was just a gem. And he said the reason they'll be fine is that they have talent. There's not a lot to worry about. If you got a good, talented team, that's a great place to start. And the Leafs are the same. It's when you got a bad team, when you're Chicago. Like the guy said, who's going to win a Stanley Cup first, Bedard or McDavid? The Blackhawks are so far from it. I wonder how long it'll be before they're even in the playoffs, let alone a contender. But anyways, of those 11 games, let's just for fun throw it out for BetRegal, our official betting partner. Let's pick the winner tonight. You and me, 11 games. And we'll do it rapid fire. Vegas at Carolina. Who wins?
Vegas.
I'll say Carolina. And by the way, I saw this note today from Hurricanes, some Facebook page that I follow. Rod Brindamore, first man in the history of this planet to play 1,400 NHL games and coach 400. Philadelphia at New Jersey. There's a good one. Who wins?
I'll take the Flyers.
I got the Devils trying
Nice.
to get their act together. And I want to say Philadelphia is who we thought they were, but they're becoming the talk of the NHL. Columbus at Buffalo. Toilet bowl. Who wins? Who cares? Columbus at Buffalo. Who wins?
I'll take the Sabres in this one.
Okay, the St. Louis Blues skate into Tampa Bay, taking on the Lightning at Amalie Arena. To quote Lynch, This should be a laugher.
Moving on.
What do you got?
Tampa.
Yeah, me too. Minnesota at Boston.
Bruins.
Me too. Rangers at Toronto. You got to pick one.
I'll take the Leafs at home. I'll take the Leafs.
Oilers at Islanders. I'll go first. I'll take Edmonton.
Okay, then I'll take the Islanders.
The Vancouver Canucks at the Nashville Predators.
Yeah, I'll take Vancouver to win that one.
Colorado at Chicago. That should be easy.
I'm going to take Chicago in an upset.
Wow. This one should be easy. Jacques Martin makes his Senators debut, sends at Arizona. Yeah, it's dead cat bounce, right? It's got to be Ottawa winning at Mullet Arena. I got to think.
It's got to be Ottawa, but this Arizona team has been fun to watch. I'll still take the Sens.
LA Kings at San Jose, by the way. Kings for me.
Kings. Yeah, Kings times 2.
All right. John Ohm writes in from Winnipeg and says, my special, almost world-famous Johnny O's chili is finished. Who needs a bowl of chili? Baby. I'm a big chili fan. It's a specialty of mine. And I remember when I lived in Prince Albert, I was the, when I was voice of the Raiders, I was the celebrity chili chef, what should I say, celebrity taste tester for a chili cook-off. And it was at the Marlboro Inn for the people in PA that know that town. And there was like 5 or 6 different chilies, and what a great job to have, right?
Okay.
And then the guy that won it, he had chunks of steak in his chili. And I was like, bruh, come on. That's not even fair. And he goes, well, I'm the professional chef at blah, 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 the PA. And I'm like, well, that's not fair. You shouldn't allow professional chefs to go in these things. But they did, and I didn't make the rules. and I voted for his chili, and he won. And I don't always put steak in my chili, but sometimes when I've got the time and I feel like a little chutzpah, as I've learned, I put steak in my chili. And I would kick John's ass, I'm sure. Anyways, we'll be back in a moment.
How about that?
Yeah, Matthew Barnaby is on the way. Not next, but in this hour. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Matthew Barnaby coming up here in hour 2 as we roll on with episode number 1145 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. Television, radio, streaming. We got it all. By the way, next week, we got our World Junior special. We have our best of, our New Year's countdown shows. It's all fantastic. Moose joins us from Toronto. We got a lot of the hockey talk that I wanted to get out of the way. We'll get into more with Barney coming up. I'll do audience takeover here, viewer takeover right now for as much as we can, Darren. And from the audience, Phil writes in and says, I'd like to see Nathan Rourke come back to the CFL because right now he's the living version of Johnny Cash's I've been everywhere for the NFL. No, he hasn't. Please don't annoy me. He's in his rookie season, and he's only been with Jacksonville. So please, I love our audience, but please, he has not been everywhere. He's on his second team. My God, in these days of pro sports, that's literally nothing. And the reason we bring that up, and that's why I said we talked about hockey earlier. We're going to talk about everything here now, but the poll question for our friends at the Key Auto Group driven by safety, experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. Let me just check what the votes are for that. Should Nathan Rourke come back to the CFL? It was a little tongue-in-cheek, although I also knew how people would vote. It's 57% saying no, he shouldn't come back to the CFL. 43% saying yes, he should come back to the CFL. Highly predictable that many people of our audience and pollsters would expect that he would come back. But Darren, he has not exactly had a rough NFL experience. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. It's his first opportunity down there, to be on a roster, to get at it a couple of times, and now be somebody coveted that, the New England Patriots wanted to claim. I thought that's a sign that, you are where you need to be. You're a commodity that people want. I think it's a good thing. So no, you're going to be down there till you get your shot. And when you are in your mind and in your heart know that it's not going to work, that you're getting no's, then you'll come back. But right now he's getting yeses. It's on the raw practice roster. Now he's been told by New England, we want to claim you and put you on our active roster for 3 weeks. So no, he's getting a lot of yeses, a lot of green lights. He's going to keep continuing to give this a shot.
How soon before you think the Patriots are respectable again? Like, I'm very... I got to make notes for our Thursday Boca Bowl preview because we're going to have a lot of football talk on Thursday, our Boca Raton Bowl preview. The Patriots are 3-11. They've got massive quarterback problems. Basically, Mac Jones has not turned out. Their first-round pick out of Alabama, they've benched him. Bailey Zappi from Western Kentucky, exactly. Who's that? Is their starting quarterback now. So Nathan Rourke's going there. And I read the story at 3 Down Nation that said that from a source or a scout or somebody telling 3 Down that Rourke will never be more than a backup. The problem is people take that as gospel. How do you know? By the way, the guy's name isn't even on it. And that's fine. I report that way too at times. But how can you say that? He's not taken one snap in the NFL, and most people will tell you that he's good enough to be there. How could you boldly say he'll never be more than a backup? That's wrong, in my opinion. You?
One person can have that opinion, but it's like going to a movie and saying this movie will not be up for an award. This movie will not. Well, that's your opinion. You don't like it. Other people might like it. When you look at Nathan Rourke, one team might say he's nothing more than a backup. But the next team sees him as exactly what they need. It's so subjective, and you just got to put your head down, block out the noise, and just play football and find a way to be in a situation that works for you. And hopefully this is it for Nathan.
Well, a couple things, by the way. I guess I just thought everybody can see this, but maybe they can't. The wave of what's hot. Nathan Rourke is hot in Canada. It's not in NFL. There's a million Nathan Rourkes in the States. There's only one in Canada. See what I'm saying? You put Nathan Rourke in the headline of anything, and people go nuts. This is our most voted on poll in ages. Nathan Rourke. That's why we're talking about it. It's like Connor Bedard when he was filling rinks. Get on the crest, the wave, man. It's not always going to be. That's why we're talking about it here. And Andrew Ray, one of our members of the audience, writes in and says, I want to clarify this. He goes, the poll question was, should he, not would he? Two different questions. I don't understand what you're saying. I typed the question. I came up with the question. Should Nathan Rourke return to the CFL and stop being jerked around in the NFL? Should he? Period. What does would he come back? What does that even mean?
The answer is the same to both.
It's the same. It's not two different questions. He's not coming back.
Even if it is.
And by the way, it's
even
different.
if it is two different questions.
What?
The same answer. It's like, do you think he wants to come back and should he come back? Because sometimes you want to do something that's not the best for you, right? I want to stay in the NFL, but I probably should come back because it's probably, you know what I mean? So I understand splitting the question, but the answer is the same for both. He wants to stay there, he will stay there, and he should stay in the NFL. It's open and shut.
Well, and there's a game changer now from what it used to be. And I apologize. Somewhere lost in the comments is Phil Kershaw writing in, the former chairman of the CFL Board of Directors, watching from Maple Ridge, which, by the way, his son Mike's leaving Rice University to go coach at Mississippi College. Just wanted to let you know that, Moose, and the world, because Mike is from the Queen City and a friend of a lot of our audience. But back in the day, when we talk about quarterbacks like Ricky Ray that went to the NFL and came back, and Dave Dickinson that went to the NFL and came back, there's a myriad of guys. It wasn't even close, both financially nor physically. Why would I stay in a practice roster in the States and make $50,000 versus come to Canada and make $500,000 or more? It's not it anymore. You can go to the NFL and not even hold the clipboard, be on the damn practice roster and make $200,000 US, or do what he's doing now. Somebody said he will clear by the end of the year, or gross, whatever, $500,000 US. Couple of years of that, and he's never going to have to work again. And by the way, people, if you've never not worked but had the money, it's nice. So it's not like 20 years ago where the money wasn't worth it to stay in the NFL. There's my point, Darren. And I wonder how many people realize that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. And as much as it's about money, it's about chasing your dreams and all the rest. Yeah, at some point, he'll just want to play in a football game. At some point, he might want to do that. And sure, you can understand that. And at that point, he'll make a decision that's based on what he wants. But you only have so much of an opportunity to go and chase your dreams. He's been playing college football down there. He knows the NFL. He can play at that level. And now he wants to get the opportunity. You know, like, let the kid do what he wants to do.
Yeah, well, exactly. And we're having a great debate. I hope people aren't getting upset because I'm not. Paul, watching in Humboldt, with an interesting comment. He says, regarding Nathan Rourke, didn't Chris Jones say he didn't see Cody Fajardo as a starting quarterback? He did, but he didn't mean it. Just so you know, that was to get in Fajardo's head, which I don't know whether it worked or not. The first time they played against each other that year, Fajardo walked all over them with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So that was Jones playing posse. That's the whole other thing, a topic for another time that we ain't going to get into today, throwing up a smoke screen. And the problem is, and I fall for it too, not as much as Joe Fan, but I do fall for it at times, believing everything I hear. And you can't. You shouldn't. You're a moron if you do. I'm not saying you, Paul, but Jones had everybody believing, including Cody Fajardo, that he didn't think Fajardo was a starting quarterback. And you know how I know that? Was because Edmonton was one of the 6 teams Cody heard from last year in the offseason. Now, the best offer that he got was from Montreal, but Edmonton turned around and wanted to at least have a conversation with signing Cody. That was Jones trying to get in somebody's head, which, by the way, is games that I don't play, so I don't really understand it, but that's what that was. I should finish the quick six, which we haven't done. Not that it's that major, but Gary Trent Jr. came off the bench for a season-high 22 points and 10 rebounds as the Toronto Raptors rallied past the Charlotte Hornets 114-99 in NBA play on Monday. I don't mind saying it. The Raptors are so far off my radar, I didn't even know that Gary Trent was still there. That's not a big deal. I would think NBA fans aren't watching this show anyways. But I'll just say Gary Trent remains my favorite Raptor. I just didn't even know he was still playing there. And here's one to point 6. There are 11 games in the NHL tonight with 4 Canadian teams in action. We'll get into this more with Barney next segment. But the Ottawa Senators, with interim coach Jacques Martin behind the bench, visit the Arizona Coyotes. As we discussed earlier, the Leafs host the Rangers, the Canucks visit Nashville, and the Islanders entertain the Oilers. What's the expectation, by the way, for the Sens and Jacques Martin? Because I would think they're hoping to get into the playoffs. You going to tell me, given the stat, the 80% stat, that Calgary, Edmonton, and Ottawa, who were all out of the playoffs at U.S. Thanksgiving, are going to get in? How about none of them will? Then there's a great poll question for you right there. Which one of those 3 get in? Probably none. But can Ottawa save their season? I don't think they can.
It's going to be really tough. If you're going to be one of the 20% to get into the playoffs and make that jump from being outside looking in, you better have a reason that's more than, oh, I think we're good enough, or I think we can. Like when we looked at the Oilers earlier, that's a team that has the skill set and they're underperforming. They can go on an 8-game run. You're confident that at some point they can reel off 6, 7, 8 in a row. With Ottawa, their little reason that they might get in is because they have games in hand. They still have a talented team, but they've got a bunch of games in hand. The difference is they just have to win them. And if Jacques Martin can take this, call it a dead cat bounce, new coach coming in, if they can reel off a few wins here and use those games in hand to get right back into contention, they could kind of press reset on their season and be a playoff team. But they have to take advantage of this opportunity of these extra games.
Sure, but I'll say this. They're in the Atlantic Division. Who are they going to surpass out of Boston, Toronto, Florida, and Tampa? and by the way, they're dead last right now. They're dead last. Jim in Balgoni Sask writes in, he says, okay, wait, steak in Chile? I think my life might have just changed with that, Jim. I know, right? Free of charge, free cooking tips. Walk with Yan has turned into Walk with Rod today. You have to be a certain age to remember that show. And Rob in Cold Lake, Alberta says, also, Nathan Rourke and his brother Curtis would have a built-in rivalry. Sure, but I'm sure he's not thinking about that. Okay, Moose, I think you're done for the day. Saddle up and see you later. The 18th all-time NHL penalty minutes leader, best-selling author, Matthew Barnaby joins us next. Get your hockey questions in now. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, it is a hockey game day here in Florida. One of 11 games is in Tampa Bay, where the Lightning are home to the St. Louis Blues. And I'm dying to get this guy's opinion on this game. Jacques Martin makes his Ottawa Senators' second debut as they visit Arizona tonight. Matthew Barnaby is from Ottawa, makes his home in Ottawa. Barney, the famed NHL pest, joins us. He's not a pest to us. Best-selling author. Merry Christmas, Barney. Can I ask you, what's the expectation for Jacques Martin as this team is dead last in the standings and for this team?
Well, Merry Christmas to you and all your listeners out there. Thanks for having me on. What's expectations? Consistency. I mean, playoffs. I heard you guys in the segment before, and there's no chance this team is competing for a playoff position. If they go on a 6-game heater, there's still 6 back of the Florida Panthers, who are a way better team. And if anyone's watched this team, they give up way too many chances against. They haven't had a goaltender that's been any good here for 7 years. So no, playoffs are not in the realm of possibility, RP, but consistency. They want to see this team compete and be in games and not the same mistakes over and over. And full disclosure, I love DJ Smith, the guy. Was it his time to go? Yeah, it was probably time to go last year, but they gave it one more kick of the can, and new ownership comes in. Andlauer, Stayhouse, you knew that there was going to be changes if this team wasn't in a playoff position or competing for a playoff position. Probably should have been done at least a month ago. Unfortunately, now they're out of it. They have 0 chance.
I agree. And by the way, Barney, I see what you did there with your television on Game Plus right now. Thank you so much. You're a guy that I believe you. When you say you watch the show all the time, I knew that I could believe you, and I thank you for that. But what are the chances Andlauer didn't know what?
I had it on earlier. But we know Aaron Rodgers comes on the Pat McAfee show every day at the same time on Tuesday. So I did turn off for about 15 minutes, but it's right back on.
Hey, I appreciate you because I know McAfee ain't going to be talking about the NHL, which curiously, I want to talk with you about the Jets in a second, and I'm talking New York Jets before we go off the air here. But, I mean, number one, how much due diligence did Andlauer do with this hockey team, A? And B, is Staios not the interim GM? You got interim GM, interim head coach. Oy vey. This was supposed to bring stability, this sale.
Yeah, it will bring stability, and I like Stevie Staios. I think he's a good hockey guy, but he's in a new position as well. He was only 1 year in Edmonton in a front office, so it is definitely a learning curve. Jacques Martin, he's brought in to bring some continuity on the defensive side of the puck. This team will be able to score goals. They're very similar to my New York Jets, and I tweeted it out the other day. They're very good offensively, not one of the best in the league, but they have a lot of great young studs that are going to be great hockey players in the future. But right now, there's a lot of cheating going on the offensive side of the puck. Defensively, they gave up way too many grade A chances. And when you don't have goaltending like we had in Dominic Hasek, you're going to lose more games than you win. And that's where they are right now. But Andlauer, did he do his due diligence? I think he did. I think he was also surprised with a few things with Pierre Dorion and the way that unfolded. And I just think, I think he did what you should do as an owner. You don't come in and make changes right away. You have to form your own opinions on the people that are in charge, whether it's the GM or the coach, and give themselves time to either prove that they're the guy for the future, or then maybe you confirm in your mind what you thought going in. But I don't like when people come in and just fire everyone and bring in their own guy. Give yourself time to really assess, and that's what they did.
Yeah, really good point on that. By the way, you're a proud Blackhawks alum, and I wish we had more time. I would get into more stories about that. I love that section of your book with Chicago. So you're obviously following the Blackhawks real closely. What's a reasonable timeline before they're even respectable? Let's say in the playoffs, let alone a contender.
I'd say playoffs, it's going to take another 2 to 3 years after this. There's just not enough surrounding Connor Bedard. They're a young team, and they are going to be near the bottom for a long time. We've seen how long Buffalo has been out of the playoffs. It's not going to be that long, hopefully. Certainly, Ottawa is a team that has been out. This will be the 7th year that they're out of the playoffs. Buffalo, I think it's 12. But I'd say 2 to 3 years where they compete for a playoff spot. That doesn't even get them in. But Connor Bedard is a special player, and I think they will surround him within the next couple of years with a team that can compete for a playoff spot.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's going to be a while, and I love it. There's more hockey fans here in South Florida than people understand, because there's people coming up to me and saying, poor Bedard, they got to get rid of Bedard. I'm like, no, you don't understand. It doesn't work that way. He's not the first #1 overall pick to be on a bad team. That's how it works. You know what I mean? But at least they're talking about it. They care. Now, speaking of bad teams, Bernie, you played for the Rangers. You know, I spent a lot of time in New York. You'll get this. I walked up to a hotel on 5th Avenue, 2 doormen. I said, guys, I'm looking for the Jets game. Do you have it on TV? Doorman goes, why? And this was like 10 years ago. They've been bad forever. Yeah, this was in New York. I don't know. You got to tell me why you're a Jets fan and why you stay a Jets fan.
You know what? I loved the sack exchange when I was like 12 years old. I turned on a game, and my brother was a Minnesota Vikings fan. And I watched this one game, and Mark Gastineau, Joe Klecko, Marty Lyons, and I fell in love with the way that Mark Gastineau celebrated after he got a sack. And just ever since then, I've been a fan. I should have changed a long time ago. Listen, it's been 38 years of misery. Not a lot of great things have went on. I missed the Super Bowl. I missed Broadway Joe. Got to meet him since. He's a wonderful man. But I just never wanted to change. I never wanted to be that guy that jumped on a bandwagon of a team. But this was I can say, the most excited I've ever been at the start of the year with the young talent that surrounds Aaron Rodgers. And I was at that game, and 4 plays in, he goes down. It went from the loudest stadium I've ever been in to the quietest stadium I've ever been in. and the expectations obviously went out the door. They have a top 3 defense, even though the numbers won't portray that. When you give the team the ball starting on your 25 or 30 or inside your 5, most of the time you're going to give up points. So give that defense 17 points a game, and this playoff team. Unfortunately, come back this year. He's really changed the minds of a lot of Jets fans and expectations. But he also said he wants to play 2 or 3 more years, which would be able, and hopefully he can do it, because he's changed my view on him as a person and a player. I knew he was always great, but as a person and a motivator.
Oh, my friend, Barney, I wish you and I had a show together. I really do. Because, okay, you were breaking up there a little bit, but I got the idea of what you were saying about Aaron Rodgers. But that New York media, my God. Yeah, Rodgers saying all the right things, but what I've heard, because I listen to it all the time down here, they're like, he's a narcissist. He wants to control the message, blah, 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 blah. Like, you can't win with a lot of those guys and girls there. You just can't. Did we lose him? Did we lose Barney? Oh, he's gone. Oh, it was good. I'm just saying, Aaron Rodgers is in there saying, and it was not on Mac, or maybe it was on McAfee. He was ripping New York media for how the lousy franchise and how the media has a big hand in that. And I was actually buying into that, and the New York media just turned on him. Oh, okay, right, yeah, a quick one, Barney. Get that New York media, man. You just can't win with those guys. And Aaron Rodgers was pointing out all was wrong with the Jets. It might have been on McAfee. And he said the media was a big problem with the Jets, and the media just turned on him, man. I don't think he cares, but have you ever seen media like that, Town? Wow.
Go to Toronto. Go to Toronto and be a Maple Leafs player when it goes bad. If anytime you call out the media and you're not playing well, you can do it when you're playing well. And he does try to control the narrative a little bit, and he's a star player, and there's so much expectation. But he also has set the bar very high that when things don't go well, and a lot of focus has been on Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator, right? And that's his good friend and a reason why he is there, a big reason why he is there. So he is coming to the defense of a lot of people that he believes in. But in the end, when you don't win, you're always going to be wrong, and the finger is always going to be pointed at you.
Absolutely. Barney, thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas. You got a Sask trip in the holidays or in the new year planned?
In the new year, I think I'm there in March and in June.
Oh, beauty. I probably will too. All right. Hopefully our paths cross. Thanks, Matthew. Enjoy the holiday season.
All right. Cheers. You as well. Keep up the good work, bud.
The great Matthew Barnaby, best-selling author, 18th all-time NHL penalty minutes. We'll be right back with Overtime, Sports Update, and Viewer Takeover right after this. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, here we go with Overtime, and it is a proud presentation of our good friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. I have said it before, and I will say it again. If the kids are sitting there going, we're bored, there's nothing to do over these Christmas holidays, take them to Overtime Lanes in Calgary. 28th Street Northeast. Right, Randy and Michelle? It's batting cages for hockey, as I like to say, top golf for hockey. Hey, Barney, you're watching in Ottawa right now. Doesn't that sound like the greatest thing? I was thinking about this, Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. I'm like, what if we had that when we were kids? Oh, wait, we did. Completely unsanctioned. In the garage, in the driveway, in the street, thump, thump, thump. Well, now, licensed bar for the parents. Restaurant. I'm telling you, it's the greatest thing. Where skill and fun collide. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Write it down. Speaking of Calgary, Ron Thompson writes in from Cowtown, and he says, the Flames are in a very good position if we have to make a trade. Tanev, Hanifin, Lindholm playing relatively decent, which should bring back respectable assets or players. We are rebuilding, and it looks promising. I love your optimism. I do. I think about the multiple golf tournaments that I emceed this summer in Calgary, specifically the Rocky Mountain Rotary Classic. Yeah, that was the one where I said, show of hands, who's optimistic about the Flames this year? Who's positive? And there weren't that many hands up in the room. And when I looked around at whose were, it was Joel Otto, Tim Hunter, Colin Patterson, Lanny McDonald. They had to. So, yeah, they can sell these guys off. But you know what? The elephant in the room is that Jonathan Huberdeau contract. When I read, you just forget about the fact that Huberdeau's even there. He's been pointless in 9 games. It's a career-long drought. $10 million's all they're paying the guy for the next 8 years. Oy vey. Tough to rebuild when you're paying that. We got to get some Flames analysts on. If they would say what they're thinking, I'm not sure they're even allowed. Very nice card from the Tim family in Red Deer. Thank you. They've texted it into the 902-518-3033 Sober Carpenter text line. Thank you, the Tim family in Red Deer. Appreciate you. Sports update on this Tuesday. Basketball great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is recovering from surgery for a broken hip after falling at a concert in L.A. A spokesperson says the six-time NBA MVP is facing 3 months of recovery. I wanted to read this when Moose was on, and then I forgot. But we were in the souvenir store at Super Bowl 56 in L.A., and I swear to God, Serena was with us. Kareem was there. The all-time leading scorer of the NBA at the time, but we were too shy to go up and say, hey. For all the world, it looked like Kareem, but we didn't, just in the off chance that it wasn't. I'm talking right downtown, LA Convention Center, the biggest souvenir store you ever saw. Kareem was there, I think. Or a guy that looked just like him. Canadian quarterback Nathan Rourke is joining the New England Patriots as a waiver pickup, according to an NFL Network report. The Patriots plucked Rourke off the Jacksonville Jaguars practice roster, and the first-year NFL quarterback's expected to be part of the Patriots' active roster for the remainder of the season. Hot-button topic, and it's he was the MVP, most outstanding Canadian of the CFL last year. He was born in Victoria, raised in Oakville. Should he come back to the CFL? No! But doesn't mean we can't talk about it. As our producer today, Tuna, said, why would he come back now? This is his best chance he's ever had to play in the NFL. I'm like, I know that, you know that, but the people that can't see outside the CFL tunnel still think that's the best place for him. Hence, the results are like 50-50. This sports update brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Silent Night from legendary director John Woo and the producer of John Wick comes this gritty revenge tale of a tormented father who witnesses his young son die when caught in a gang's crossfire on Christmas Eve. Not one word of spoken dialogue in the whole movie, and it's a shoot-'em-up thriller. Go check it out. Silent Night this Christmas. And the sports update and our hockey coverage brought to you in part by Common Crown Brewing Company. Turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. We're in the final minute. Last minute of play in the RP show today. I want to thank Jeff Reinebold. I want to thank Matthew Barnaby. Oh, man, I can see why. Well, I know the viewers love it, but I love it. And isn't that what it's all about at the end of the day? Wayne in BC, well, that was a fun 2 hours. Allie in Texarkana, a great show today. I'm hungry after all of that chili talk. Gonna go find some lunch. Thank you, Randy in Winnipeg, Jen at the Four Seasons, all of you all. Enjoy the hockey, the sports, maybe the Frisco Bowl tonight if that's your thing. And we'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern, right here.
Who has more fun than us?